Welcome back to another episode of Unfiltered Romance Nights. We are your hosts, Kolleen.
And I'm Marjorie. Today's episode, we have romance audiobook talker Tiffany, also known as Tiffany P. Reads on social media. Welcome to Unfiltered Romance Nights podcast. We are so excited to have you and talk all things audiobook with you.
Well, thank you so much for asking me to be a part of this. I love any opportunity to talk about romance audiobooks, so it's perfect.
Now, we're going to just jump right into some basic questions. So, when did you first start Book Talk, and what would you say inspired you?
So I created my account, I guess about 2 years ago. And what really got me to start that process was when I discovered audiobooks, I was really surprised at how much it meant to me and how much I connected with the books in a way that I hadn't experienced before. And so I really wanted to share that love with other people and hopefully encourage them to, try and listen as well, because I made a lot of assumptions. I really thought it would be boring. I thought an audiobook was just somebody reading me a bedtime story. So I resisted it for a long time because I thought, no, it's fine. I'll use my imagination. I'm just going to read. Right. But when I was really hearing the performances that the actors were giving, it just opened my mind up to a whole new way of devouring stories.
Yeah, I am like you, how you used to be. I have listened to one audiobook and maybe I just picked the wrong one. I was like, no, I can't do this. I can't do this. So I'm glad you're on here because I'm going to need some recommendations.
Yeah, well, that's all I love to talk about. So I'd be happy to help.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way because I remember the first audiobook that I listened to was 50 Shades of Grey because we were traveling, like 6-hour travel. And I was like, I need something to get my mind off of it. And it wasn't the best. But, so after that, I was just like, we didn't finish it, but I couldn't read the book because all I can hear was her voice, especially when she would change her voice to Christian's voice when he was doing it. I was like, no, I can't. Like, I have to step away, read something else before I can finish this actual book because all I can hear was her voice for when she does the guy voice. I was like, no, that's ruining the book for me. It's like it, and I feel like now it's different, like how they're producing it.
Yeah, I think things have really changed in the last couple of years, specifically within romance, because narration, with the history of it, actors were pretty much told, don't feel too much of the story for the listener. You are opening the door for them, but you want the listener to feel all of the things. Well, what listeners started experiencing, they were asking for more. Like, no, I want you to feel all of the things for me.
See?
And so that's something that I've really seen a difference in the last couple of years is I want it to feel like I'm watching a movie. So I want the actor, if they are emotional and they are upset because the character is going through something, I want to feel that because it informs how I feel if I'm hearing that come through in the audiobook.
Yeah. Now, do you prefer dual narration? Is that correct? Dual narration?
Yeah, that's what she was just talking about. So dual narration, usually if there's two POVs, male and female, for example. So that if it's the male character's POV, the male narrator will do all of the voices within that chapter. So that's when you'll have, an actor doing both genders. For a lot of people, that is hard. And there are some actors that are much better at that than others. So what I've seen just since I've started listening, and I've only been listening for about 2.5 years, but I've seen a huge increase in the popularity of duet style narration. So that's when if there's a male and female narrator, they're only voicing that gender.
Okay.
So it's put together usually in post-production. So they record separately, and then an engineer will come in and merge the files.
Oh, okay.
So it sounds like they are actually having a conversation.
Interesting.
With the dialogue.
I like that.
Mm-hmm. So it's different. I mean, you said you've only tried one, and I always encourage people to, try several different audiobooks. How I started, I listened to an audiobook that I had previously read and loved. And I wanted to see how it hit me differently emotionally. And it also took the pressure off because I didn't really have to pay attention. Right? Like, it was okay if I felt like my mind was going to wander because I already knew the story. I knew the characters. So you can also play with the speed. Sometimes people need a faster speed to really get sucked into the story. And then actors are just going to vibe with people differently. There's going to be some that will resonate with you, and you might think to yourself, I don't even have to know what this book is about. If I see this narrator's name attached to it, I know I'm going to get a great performance regardless.
Yeah.
And that's more of the path that I have gone down in the last couple of years.
Yeah. My sister-in-law does that. She has one particular male narrator that no matter what, he could be reading a menu. She's listening.
Yes.
So I hope this is an easy question. I don't know. Could you name 2 to 3 of your favorite authors?
So I probably have 20, but I did think about it. And, for me to say 2 or 3 that I really love, and I have read all of their books, and I would give them all 5 stars. I just love them so much. Abby Jimenez.
Oh, okay.
So she is a contemporary romance author. She's traditionally published. She is somebody that I can recommend her books to anyone and everyone. It doesn't matter. J.T. Geisinger, she has a lot of great banter, and she's written everything from rock star romance to mafia romance. She likes to surprise you. She writes books that just like rip your heart apart. So she just covers a little bit of everything, and I love her writing style. And then Elsie Silver would be another one.
Okay.
I love her writing style, and she is from Canada, and she writes like this like cowboy romance. And I was so intrigued initially because of the narrators on some of her books. But I mean, I live in the South, but I don't listen to country music. I don't own any cowboy boots. I've never been to a rodeo. I don't ride horses. And I thought, cowboy romance? Oh, I don't know if I'm going to be into this. I'm into it. I'm very into it. And she was the author that really opened that door for me. It's more of like, I mean, there's bull riders, and there's a ranch that they live on, and small town. Oh, she's fantastic.
I'm going to have to try that because I was the same way. Like I was like, oh, I don't know about cowboy romance, but you know what? I have not heard anybody say anything bad about about Elsie Silver's book, so I'll have to give it a go.
Yeah, they're fantastic. I've read them all. I've listened to them all. I should say that. I've listened to them all.
Maybe that's what I'll do. That's how I will digest those books. That's a good idea.
I would say I like J.D. Geisinger's audio. The one for oh my gosh, it's like the mafia series.
Yeah, Queens and Monsters.
Yes, that's one. Queens and
Is that
Monsters.
the one?
I listened to the book one, and I like it because it's a multi actress, right? Like there's
several of those books I think have 3 or 4 actors on them.
So I kind of like it because you can differentiate like who the characters are when they're having conversation. I think I scarred my husband because we were listening to it in his truck, and while we were driving, and he's just like, "This is the books that you read or listen to." Like, yeah,
and you're like, "Yeah, pay attention."
Right, and he's just like, "There's something wrong with you." Like, it's like, leave me alone with my books. It's like, but I think it was like a shock because I think for him it's like different when I'm screenshotting. My banter's all sent, and I was like, okay, whatever. But actually listening to it, and it's like full on actors that have all the, like they take on that character, and he was just like, oh, okay, like what do you listen to? And he was like, nope, stop it. Like you can listen to this by yourself. I did not want to listen to it the whole time, and I was like, you okay, that's fine. It's like, yeah.
That's fine. Yeah, for people who have never listened to a lot of romance, maybe they've read some but haven't read a lot. You do, I think, have to warm them up to some of the contents for what we consume. So I've had my husband listen to one romance audiobook, but one of his requirements, he said, please don't make it too spicy. Like, I need low spice to try this. And I said, I understand. It's totally fine. So I found him one, and he enjoyed it. He enjoyed the acting because he listens to a lot of fantasy books. And the narration tends to be a little flatter. There might be some different accents. Just the storytelling is a little different. And he definitely picked up on more of the emotional presentation that the actors gave in the romance book.
Did he like it?
And saw how it was different. He did. He enjoyed it for what it was. I mean, he's an engineer and he's in finance. So some of the suspension of disbelief of certain things, I'm like, but you read fantasy with like creatures, but it bothers you that he owns a bicycle shop and she owns like a little bookstore in New York City, but yet they can afford their lives. Like, that bothers you.
Oh my gosh.
Just pretend like they make a lot of money. It's fine.
Everybody's rich in the books.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I don't think I mean, it's usually there's one of the main characters that's only poor, not both characters.
No,
poor. It's usually one, and then the other one's like always millionaire, billionaire, or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
well,
kind of
right.
If you had both people poor, that's called real life. Nobody wants to read real life.
Right. That's true.
I have read some like blue collar type romances where I wouldn't say they're poor, but they're just normal people going about their lives and have normal jobs, and they deserve love stories.
That's
too,
right.
Right?
That's true.
Happy endings.
Now I'm going to put you on the spot. You did favorite authors. Now 2 to 3 favorite books, and the audio or however, just in general.
Okay. You might as well ask me which of my children I like better. That trend that was going around on social media about your top 5, like your top 5 of all these things. I looked at that trend and said, I can never do that. But I can tell you 3 of my favorite books that I have listened to this year.
Okay, let's do that. That's fair enough.
Okay. So the first one, the first one was Lights Out by Nevessa Allen.
Oh, okay.
This one has been all over social media. It was such a fun audiobook. It is duet style.
Okay.
And the way the actors just portrayed these characters and their internal monologue was so hysterical. So it's a dark romance, a stalker romance, but it's hysterical. It's actually more comedy, more like rom-com than it is like a dark romance. So I would suggest it being a really great place for anyone to start if they were wanting to tiptoe into dark romance.
Okay.
It was hilarious. A book I read but didn't have a chance to listen to was Atlas by DJ Krimmer.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
It's she wrote a book series. It's called the Hell's Ink series, and she writes a lot of female main characters that have some kind of chronic health issue, and the male main characters have mental health issues. And it's one of my favorite series that I have ever read. I feel like it's underrated. I want more people to read it and talk about it. And I did the entire series, but Atlas was my favorite one because the female main character had type 1 diabetes, and my sister has it and my husband has it. So that really drew me to the story. And I'm just a sucker for a story where he has been pining for her for an extended period of time and she has no idea. And so in this story, he is just like golden retriever, super happy all the time. And she needs insurance for her insulin. And so he's like, well, marry me. I have great insurance. And he's been pining for her. So it's a marriage of convenience story. And I just fell in love with his character. It was so good. Let's see. And then the last one, I would say Play Along by Liz Tomforty.
Okay.
I've only read one other book of that series, but I listened to this one in audio. And again, it's like a fly to Vegas and get married, but he's been pining for her for a long time. And it's just beautiful. I had this expression, you can't see, but I'm smiling like the entire time I was listening to that book. Just a stupid grin on my face. It just made me feel good. And it was sweet and beautiful and loved it with my whole heart.
You said play along?
Play along. Mm-hmm.
More stuff.
I know.
So do you have like a favorite in the romance, genre? Do you have like favorite subgenres to read, or do you read kind of almost everything under the sun?
So I guess subgenre, all romance, but I will do a little dark romance. I've done a little paranormal romance and romantasy, not quite as much. Contemporary romance. I love a rom-com that's going to make me laugh. I love laughing when I'm reading my books. So I don't really discriminate in terms of that. And then, I have my favorite tropes. And then tropes that are like lower on the list, but depending on who the author is or who the performers are, I will always give it a chance.
Yeah. Yeah, you never know. I know. What did I just read? I've had Elle Kennedy for so long. I mean, it's just like your standard, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. I'm in the mood for something else. And I'm so sorry I waited so long because I just read The Deal. I thought it was really good. Now, I am a dark romance gal.
Okay.
This was so good. So I was pleasantly surprised. But I'm like you. I kind of want to just dip my toe into a little bit of everything.
Right. I adore Jessie Hall.
Oh, yes.
I think she's fantastic. I've read or listened to all but one of her books. I love her as a person. But her latest book, Greenlight, it was heavy on the bully trope, which is probably my least favorite of all the tropes. But I love her writing style. I really like her as a person. And so I said, well, I have to read this. And I loved it. It was a 5-star read. I could not put it down. I mean, it's dark. It's very, very dark. But it was written so beautifully.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things. I can't just write something off to say, well, I will never read X, Y, or Z, because you just never know. And I get surprised monthly by authors.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And when you first started reading, let's say, did you start off with physical books, ebooks, or did you jump right into audiobooks?
So I think like a lot of readers who are getting back into reading, I started with physical books and I went to my library. Yes. So it was a lot of traditionally published books that I could check out from the library. And I did that for a while. I got back into reading in 2020. And so for probably about a year, maybe a little less than a year, it was all physical books. And I would request ones that I wanted from the library and I'd go and pick them up. And then when I discovered Libby, which is an app, a library app, Hoopla as well, that you could get ebooks. And I didn't have to go to the library anymore. I could just download them to a Kindle. And I thought, oh, that sounds like a great idea. So that's when I switched to ebooks, but I was still mostly borrowing them from the library. And then I think somewhere in 2021, somehow I discovered Kindle Unlimited. And that's where I found, I just could not read the books fast enough. There were thousands to choose from. And the Kindle Unlimited, there's a read and listen for free program that they do with some authors. And so you can listen to the audiobook while you read. So it's like a free audiobook. And that's actually how I started listening to audio, which was about a year and a half after I started reading the ebook. So for me, it was a progression. Yeah. It was physical, and then it was ebook, and then it was audiobook. Yeah. But I have quite the collection of physical books because I love collecting them. They're beautiful. But I have not picked up and read a physical book since 2020. No, it's all even. Once you get used to that Kindle, it's so easy with your hands. Like you're not holding pages open, and you can adjust the light and the font. The font. I'm starting to make that font just a little bit bigger.
Yeah. I only change the font to like smaller when I'm in public because I don't know if I'm like, if somebody's well, so I do it as a dark mode, so I'm pretty sure it's
Okay.
still harder for people to read it. But one time I
Yeah.
was like at my son's jujitsu, and I was just like, I'm bored. I'm like, sure, I'm watching him, but like I just let him be, and I'm like sitting where the parents are, and I was like, I was reading something, and I could just see from my side, like I felt like the guy kept inching closer and closer, and I was like trying to I was like, nope, like you can't read what I'm reading, go away. Like, so I kept like scooting and scooting, and he was like scooting like closer, and I'm like, no, like no, just. So I kept like lower, like making my thing smaller, and I can tell that he was trying to read because he was like
That's
craning
so funny.
his neck, like what I'm trying to read.
Oh my gosh!
Like I was just like, this is weird, but okay. Like, so I ended up
That's
like
very
just
funid.
pretended like I had to go to the bathroom so I could like stand up and like leave and then not come back.
Wow.
So I was like, well, these are not the books that, most people advertise that they're reading in public anyway.
Yeah.
So,
I would. I have no shame in it at all. I see a book in public, like by the pool, and if I recognize it, I will 100% walk up to that person and say something to them, like, "Oh, you're reading that? I just finished reading it," or "I have a friend that read that," or "I know the author. She's a friend of mine."
Right.
And if I see, especially a woman reading a Kindle, I'm like,
You.
looking at her, like, do I know what book they're reading? I want to know so that I can have a new book friend.
I mean, that's a good idea. I think majority of the people that I've seen, like the other parents, are like it's Akatar. Is that?
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
ACOTAR, A Court of Thorns and Roses.
Yeah, that one. And I was just like, well, I haven't read that, so I can't really like.
It's a good series. I've read it, especially for people who don't normally like fantasy or don't think they like fantasy. I enjoyed it when I read it.
Yeah.
Well, actually, you answered this. So like you started listening to audiobook like once you figure out like that read and listen for free on Kindle.
Yeah, because it was a free way to try audiobooks. So that's how I started.
Now, the listen for free, is it actually a narrator or is it like, oh, okay. Because I know, wasn't it you, Marjorie? Did you say, oh, I'm not reading it, I'm listening to it, but it wasn't like a narrator. It was like a.
Yeah. So like Kindle has that, like a voice reader. It's not the greatest because it's like robotic.
AI. It's
Yeah.
AI.
Oh,
Yeah.
is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I only
you
do
can.
it. Yeah. Just if.
Yeah, and I understand for some people, depending on what their needs are, they have to use that. You can use Alexa or Siri can read your books to you, but I am telling you, it is a shadow of what you could actually be experiencing. Because I have listened to samples like that, just listening to the AI. It's terrible. It's really terrible. Because, I'll see online people will say things like, oh, you don't need to buy audiobooks. You can just have, Alexa read it to you for free. And I'm thinking, have you ever actually heard a narrator's performance? Like if you side by side, if you compare, there's no comparison.
It's totally different.
I mean, it's like watching a silent movie from 60 years ago, 70 years ago, compared to like high def, bright colors today. There's just no comparison.
Yeah. I only usually use it. It's like when I'm trying to get over that 10%, 20% of the first part of the story.
Oh.
And then once I get out of that, then I'm just like, okay, I'm switching back to reading it.
So it's hard. The beginning of the book is hard for you to get into it?
Yeah, especially if it's like a new author to me. And I was like trying to I was like, okay, like I don't want to DNF it because the story sounds interesting and then I like the trope. I need to get out of get it out of the way. So,
Mm.
I listen to it. It's like, it's cringy because sometimes it will
It is.
mispronounce it and be like thinking to myself, like, what
Yes.
did they just say? Like, or pronouncing the name. I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure that's not the name. So I have to like look at what words at reading it. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's not the name, but it's just like mispronounced almost like even the simplest word. And I'm like, there's
Yeah.
like, why are you changing the pronunciation for this word?
Right. Well, it can't do accents either.
Yeah.
Mm.
So if you are reading a book and there's an Irish accent or a French accent, Siri or Alexa, those AI programs, they can't do it. And they definitely cannot bring any kind of emotion to the table.
Yeah. And I feel like that's what I would need. I think I need a really good recommendation for something that's going to give me some emotion.
I've got one for you if you want something that's pretty dark and twisted.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you read Little Stranger
Yes.
by Lee Rivers?
Was that
Okay.
good?
That audiobook is wild.
Okay. I'm writing it down.
I mean, I enjoyed it. It was 5 stars, like couldn't stop listening, but I was cringing. I mean, it's just not cringing the performance, cringing of like shivers, like it's a really incredible
Okay. I'll start there
performance.
for sure.
And since you've read it, I would be very interested if you listen to it, see how that feels different to you, and then let me know.
I will, because I recently just read it, like within the past few weeks, so it's still fresh.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm trying to finish an audiobook that it's like the second time I'm already. So I tried to read it twice, like on ebook, and I kept like putting it off. And then I got the audiobook for it. I did it. I think I got to chapter 8. I was just like, I can't with this. And then so now I'm like trying to finish it. But I was like, kept looking at the hours, and I was like, I have 14 more hours of this.
Oh, wow.
And I'm just like,
Oh, that's hard.
yeah. And I'm just like, because it was total 20 hours. And I was just like, it's the last book in the series. And I've read the first 3 books back to back like a year and a half ago. And I'm just like, I need to really finish this. Because I like the.
I mean, but do you like if you're pushing yourself that hard?
Right.
You're not into it, and it's okay. And I know some people have a very hard time DNFing and saying, you know what, life's too short. I'm not feeling this. Maybe you're just not feeling it right now.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to push yourself to get through it, I did that recently with an audiobook I was so excited to hear. And it was highly anticipated, amazing narrators. And I started listening, and I got probably maybe 5 hours into a 12-hour book, and I just stopped. I said, I feel like this isn't really going anywhere. Like I just wasn't, and maybe it was just that particular story. Maybe it was what I was going through and I wasn't connecting, but I wasn't going to keep pushing myself 7 more hours. I mean, I've got a list of audiobooks. Like, I've got to get through these things. And I'm not going to push myself 7 hours. I'm like, no, we're just going to put that one back in the library and move on.
Well, so the only reason I bought the audiobook, and I think that's why I'm pushing it, because, like, I bought it. Like, I'm not wasting my money on this one, like, kind of thing. And was like, I told somebody, I was like, I can't do it with the ebook. Like I just can't, and I'm not gonna read on a physical book just because I don't like opening books anymore. And it's a thick one too. It's like, I think it's that thick. So I was like, nope. They're like, oh, just do audio book for it. Maybe you'll get into it. And I restarted it last week, and I was like, can we change the personality of the FMC, and then I think I'll be good. If we change the personality, I think we'll be better for it, because I love the MMC. The MMC I love, and I was looking forward to reading his story, and I was just like, why is this the FMC? Can we find somebody else, because I cannot with this girl? And so I was like, I'm gonna keep trying, probably a couple more days. If not, I'm be like, okay, I'm gonna restart it again, maybe try again next year.
Yeah
Find something
try
else.
it later.
Yeah.
But that's an interesting point that you made. You feel like you need to listen to the audiobook because you've bought it. Would you feel the same way if you had bought a physical book at the bookstore? You're like, well, I guess I have to finish reading this because I bought it, or would you just put it on the shelf or just give it to a friend?
If
That's
if I
good one.
bought it myself, and if the author signed it, like personalize it, I might read it. Or if it's gifted to me, I will read it too, because I just feel bad if it's gifted to me. But if I like just willy-nilly bought it because I like the cover and then I didn't, then I probably would like either give it away or sell it, for cheaper, like a used one, which I have.
Yeah.
But if it's gifted and then if it's like signed by the author where they personalize it, then I'll try to. But if I can't, like, I'll just put it on the shelf. It's
Yeah. Well, just think about the audiobook like that.
Right.
Like, yes, you paid for it, but it's okay. I mean, sometimes sometimes they're misses, right? Like sometimes we just can't get into it. We don't like it. And, that's okay.
And I wonder too if it's like because I've read the first 3 books in the series a while back and then I didn't pick it up right away.
Maybe.
So I'm not like in that world
Maybe.
anymore. And I was just like, and I don't really feel like rereading the first 3 books because they're big too. So I was like, nah, I'm like, maybe I'll do that and like shelve it for now and then come back to it later.
Yeah. There's so many great books out there. Don't waste your time if you're struggling with it. Just put it away for a while.
Yeah.
So do you remember the first audio book that you listened to?
I do. It was a JT Geisinger book. It was called Melt for You. And I had previously read it, and it was one of my favorite books. I loved it so much. And I needed to repaint my kitchen. And I'd had some friends that were really encouraging me to try audiobooks. This was long before I was on social media. And they said, Tiffany, I really think you were going to enjoy it. I'm like, oh, that's boring. And so that week that I was going to paint my kitchen, I said, well, I can listen to music while I do this, or I can try an audiobook. And it was one of the Kindle Unlimited Read and Listen for Free. It was a solo narration, so it was just one narrator. Pippa Jane is her name. She did all of the voices for all of the characters. And like I said, I would kind of just get lost in my thoughts while I was painting, listening to the story, and I had already read it before. But for me, I was really amazed at how it hit me differently on an emotional level because I could hear the emotion in the characters' voices, and she was doing a Scottish accent for the male main character. And, she would perform certain scenes, and I would think to myself, that's not how I read it. Oh man, this is so much heavier than what I remember it being. This is so beautiful. This is amazing. And there was just no looking back for me after that. And so then I just started going through, and probably the first 8 or so audiobooks I listened to were all books I had already read before. And I was just in my mind comparing, and every book improved. Every book that I discovered I felt was even better because the performance, I'm like, this is not somebody just reading me a story. This is amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my first one.
Melt for You. I think that's.
I already wrote it down.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's in the middle of a series. It's called her Slow Burn series. They're fairy tale retellings. But they're all standalones. Okay. And this one was just really powerful, and the dedication or the acknowledgement in the back, she wrote it to honor somebody that she knew, I think when she was in high school. So it was powerful. It was really good.
Interesting. I'll have to give that a try. Now, I know that you said that you usually pick out all of your audiobooks, but do you happen to get ALC's advanced listening copies? Are you on any teams like that?
I do. I'm actually on quite a few teams. I'm on a few author-specific teams, and then I do have authors that will send me ALCs occasionally, and then I'm on a couple of like PR teams that do ALCs. So if there's something that comes out that I'm really interested in, I can apply for it to get an advance copy so that I can listen to it ahead of time. Because if it's an author I really love or a book I'm really excited about, I really want to get it ahead of time before the release date, because I love being able to make content to help promote that book. And so if I can have it done beforehand, then I can have a video ready for release day. And then maybe, if I have time, I might do a couple during release week to get other people excited about listening to it, especially when an author is doing a simultaneous release. So they're doing the book and the audio at the same time, because I'm hoping that in some of my content, I might persuade somebody to choose the audiobook over just getting the ebook or just getting the physical. Because what I've learned for a lot of audio listeners, we also buy the physical books. Because if you're just listening to audio, you don't really have anything to show for it. And if it's a book that really moves you, you want to put something pretty on your shelf too. You'd be like, I love this book. So when you look at it, you remember how you felt when you listened to that.
I like that.
Is it easier to, like, with the like advanced listener copy or like the ARC? Do you think it's easier for ALC to do that rather than like the ARCs?
You mean easier to get?
Yeah, like to get into, kind of, I guess, like, how like sometimes like people would over apply for ARCs and then they all
Sure. Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I'm not sure. Obviously, there are a lot more readers than there are audiobook listeners, at least in this space right now. So, but I know audio listening is definitely increasing. I mean, it's $1 billion industry, just like, physical books and ebooks. Like, people are consuming art this way. I think if anyone would be interested in getting ALCs, the first thing I would suggest is make sure you're writing reviews. Right. So whether it's Goodreads, Amazon, Audible, those are the 3 big ones. There's a few PR companies that require a minimum amount of reviews before you are considered to be a part of their team. But every ALC team that I'm on with the PR companies, we get to choose the ones that we want to listen to. So, a lot like ARCs, right? You sign up for it, but they might have a limited number of codes that they give out. They may have different requirements. Most of the companies that I'm aware of, they always try to get a wide span of people, just like with ARCs. People who just write reviews, or people who do social media content, those who don't, smaller accounts, bigger accounts. They want to try to reach as many people as possible.
Yeah. I was just curious. Not that I would be signing up because it's like stressful.
Yeah.
Right now. Like, I don't need my stress when I'm in a book slump. But yeah.
Book slumps can be challenging for sure.
Yeah. I think it's at the end of the year. So it's kind of like, do I even care about my reading challenge that I told myself? Thing. I was like, nah, it's like, there's holiday.
So you're a mood reader.
Well, I used to not be, but now, like, actually this year, I stopped signing for ARCs, and I'm just like, nope, whatever I want to read, I'm gonna read. But right now I've been like bouncing. Like I said, I have that audiobook. I have like 3 that I'm like trying to like bounce between just to figure out which one I want to read. But I was just like, I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna reread books that I've read before. Maybe it will take me out of the slump.
Yeah, that's great. I know a lot of people that do that. They'll reread a favorite book to pull them out of a book slump.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. Oh, this one's I feel like a good one, since you do do a lot of audiobooks. Do you have favorite narrators?
Well, I try not to play favorites because I also really love discovering for me new actors. So oftentimes I will sign up for an ALC just because it has a narrator on it I've never heard before.
Oh, that's good.
And I've wanted to hear their performance, or it's an author I've never read before and I want to see what it's like. But I do, long list of favorite narrators. But I would say For female narrators, I feel like I'm always going to get an amazing performance from Samantha Brentmore, Maxine Mitchell, and Vanessa Edwin. I've loved every performance I have ever heard them do, regardless of the book. And male narrators, again, there's a long list, but Teddy Hamilton, Jason Clark, and Connor Crace.
Okay.
Are three that I can listen to no matter what the tropes are, the subgenres. I know I'm going to enjoy it.
Okay. I'm going to make note of that.
I hear a lot
that's
about
Teddy
Teddy
Hamilton, I
Hamilton.
think. Yeah, my sister-in-law. Like I said, he's one of the ones that no matter what he writes, she's going to listen. That's interesting.
Yeah, or whatever book he's on. Yeah, because you said
Just
you like
like that.
dark romance. So did you read Haunting and Hunting Adeline?
All right. I'm going to be crucified
Did
right
you
now.
narrate them?
It was not my favorite. It was, the books were just
Fair.
middle of the line for me. Like, no.
I like book one better than book two, just because book two was so emotional. It was hard.
It was hard.
It was hard. Like part one was hard. So it's kind of like you have to get through part one, and then it's like when part two hits, it's like, okay, now it's better. Like, I love it now. Not that I didn't like it the whole way. It's just harder to get into. It took me, I had to have like a 6-month break in between book one and book two, because I tried to dive into it and I was just like, okay, this is way too heavy. Like, I mean,
it's so heavy.
Yeah, like, because book one ended in a cliffhanger, and you're just like wondering, like, oh, what is going to happen to her, kind of thing. And then you read everything that happened to her, and I'm just like, okay. Like, I'm glad I spaced them out, and I read Satan's Affair in between, so it was kind of like, okay, it's a little bit of a break. I love CB, so
that book was great.
That book was like fun to read. I mean, it's not like it's funny, but it was fun to read, to get out of like preparing myself for book two.
Is there an audio for that one, for Satan's Affair? Because I bet you there is. I bet you that's interesting.
There is.
Because she was crazy.
Yeah, she was wild. Yeah, that Haunting Adeline was the first dark romance audiobook I ever listened to. And I picked it up because I wanted to hear the narrators, and it was duet style narration. And I mean, I was really sucked in. But to this day, when I have conversations with people about dark romance, and I'm not a dark romance girly, but I have read and listened to quite a bit. I still say that Hunting Adeline, the second book, is the darkest book I have ever read. Because that audiobook was like 16 hours long, and the first 7 hours you have like rape happening on page and sexual assault of this, like it is. And I always listen to audiobooks when I'm out and about. I'm driving the car, I'm going grocery shopping, I'm giggling, I'm blushing, all this. That book, it took me over a week to get through, because I was at the grocery store in the milk aisle when things were happening, and I felt like, personally, I'm like, this feels disrespectful for me just to be like grocery shopping while this character is experiencing these horrible, like this is just not okay. So I only listened to it while I was at home, so it just took me a while. But yeah, it's I enjoyed those books for what they were, or what they are. I think H.D. Carlton with those books has really opened the door for a lot of people to discover darker romance. But it's not a light entry point at all. And I do get a little frustrated sometimes with people when they have never read any dark romance, and then the suggestion online is, you got to get Haunting and Hunting Adeline. I'm like, maybe. I mean, that's what I did with audio, but I don't necessarily recommend that for everybody. Like, why don't find out more about what this is about and make sure that this is something that you want to jump into, because it is heavy.
Yeah. I mean, like the darkest, when I first, like I ventured out, like, I mean, I dove into dark right away in 2021, when I started Book Talk. That's where it went, and I was just like, oh, I actually like this, it's not too bad. And then as I got to reading and reading, they got darker and darker. I think it was between Sabotage and The Ritual by Chantel that was kind of like
Yeah.
dark, and then Hunting and Haunting Adeline kind of gets, but it was so hyped up when I keep seeing the recommendation. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna wait. So by the time I was like reading it, it wasn't as, I didn't think it was as dark as I read, but I wouldn't like recommend it for new beginners. Where it's like
No.
everybody's like, "Yo,
No.
just read this," and I was like, "What? Why are you like? Why they said they asked for beginner, like beginner dark
Yeah.
romance? That's not beginner because that
That's yeah. I
like
wouldn't say
Yeah.
that either.
yeah
It's heavy.
yeah
It's very, very heavy
yeah.
content.
I mean, book two dove straight where what was happening with Addie. It wasn't like
Yeah.
she didn't like kind of like prepare you like where it was
Yeah.
just it's
Well,
straight
and
into that like
it's also because that book, like, some dark romance, it's like, a mafia dom
Yeah.
and
mm-hmm,
he's a billionaire, but he's super sexy, but he's really dangerous and he kills people, all this
yeah
stuff. I'm like, okay, that really feels like fantasy to me.
yeah
Fiction, like real hardcore fiction.
right
Human trafficking is a real
Yeah.
thing.
right
And so I think that's why that book, that duet, it just hit even more different for me, because there is some reality
mm-hmm,
to that story.
yeah
And yeah.
yeah
But I mean, the audiobook was
I
absolutely
think I'll
incredible.
do
I
that.
mean,
I will take your recommendation and because I've read it. Maybe I'll listen to the audiobook and see how I feel about it.
see
Yeah.
if you feel
I
differently.
mean, it was,
Yeah, because like I said, it's duet style
yeah.
narration, so it sounds like you might be
Yeah.
more interested in that. And Teddy Hamilton and Michelle Sparks, they were both.
I'm gonna do that.
I mean, I don't know if I've ever heard him as creepy as some of the side characters that he has to play. Like, I mean, he had to go to some really dark places when he was doing
I
some of
bet.
those characters.
Yeah.
yeah and you said it was a duet
Mhm.
right
Yes, it's duet style.
That'll be good.
oh yeah I can only imagine like
Little Stranger is also duet,
okay
that one that I
Oh,
recommended.
okay. Now, the next question kind of will set anyone up like myself who is not familiar with the audiobooks. So, where do you recommend someone like myself to start? Like, if okay, this is what I want to do. Is it straight to Audible or?
Well, I think my first question would be, what kind of books do you typically enjoy reading? Because if you typically get books from the library and you like traditionally published books, then I would suggest first get a library card and then sign up for the Libby and Hoopla apps. And then you can borrow audiobooks for free.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to be able to get a lot of widely distributed audiobooks that way. If you already have a Kindle Unlimited subscription because you love to read on your ebook and you're reading a lot of indie authors that are only on Kindle Unlimited for their ebook, then I would say jump on there, read and listen for free. There's hundreds of audiobooks that come with your subscription. You're already paying for it. So try some of those audiobooks. And the other good thing about the Kindle Unlimited subscription is that when you borrow a book for free, there's a prompt that pops up and it says add audible narration, and it gives you a discounted price and you can buy it right then. So those audiobooks are usually anywhere from about $1.99 to about $7.50.
Okay.
Which is cheaper than Audible credit if you're just buying it outright. So if you're doing a lot of Kindle Unlimited, that's a great way, because then you can just buy a couple of audiobooks, see how you think about it, and you get a discount. I mean, $7.50, I will pay that all day long for an audiobook, because you're getting, 16 hours of entertainment. It's going to cost me like $15 to go watch one movie that's an hour and a half at the movie theater, And so that's the thing I try to help people understand. If they say, well, audiobooks are so expensive, I'm like, there's ways that you can spend less money and maximize your entertainment. But that's really what people have to understand. It's entertainment and it's art, and that costs money. So whether you're using a streaming service or you're going to a concert, like, we pay for what we want to pay for. And so, if you're paying $7, $8 for that much entertainment. I mean, just renting a movie to watch at home, I think is like $6 now through Apple TV or Amazon. So when you think about it in those terms, you're like, oh, actually, it's really not that expensive. Yeah. Just to buy a paperback book, it's $20. True. So I mean, the audio is still cheaper than the paperback books. Yeah. So,
and you keep it?
It's comparable.
Yes. When you purchase it, that way you do keep it. So the same thing with Audible. So an Audible subscription, I always tell people to try it because usually they have trials, like 3 months for 99 cents or 3 months for free. 100% worth it to try it. Because when you do that, they'll go ahead and give you 3 credits for those 3 months, and you can use those on any audiobook that you want, and you keep it even if you drop your membership. But what's good about Audible, too, there's a lot of authors that will go Audible exclusive with their audiobooks. So this is built into their contract. That means you can't get those audiobooks anywhere else. You can't borrow them from your library. You can buy them through Amazon or through Apple Books because of how they work together, but you're not going to be able to find it on any other platform. So again, if you tend to really lean towards indie authors, and some of them do go wide with their audiobooks, but for a lot of them, they're going to go Audible exclusive because they get a higher percentage of their royalties that way. So with the Audible membership, the one that most people think of, it's usually about $15 a month. That includes their library. So it's called the Audible Plus catalog. It's not every audiobook, but it is still hundreds and hundreds of audiobooks, and they change them out like every 6 months or so. But you have unlimited listening with those. As much as you want. Listen to anything that you want in there. And if you just want that membership, it's like $8 a month. So the $15 one, you get that library, and then they give you 1 credit a month. And that's what you can purchase an audiobook to keep for yourself. A lot of people think that $15 a month, that just means 1 credit. I'm like, well, that's $15 for 1 book. Well, you're also getting the whole library, their Plus catalog to listen to. So if you're not doing that, then yeah, that is expensive.
I didn't know that. That's why I canceled my Audible. I was like, it's only 1 book for like a month. And I was like, and then I was like thinking to myself, like,
exactly.
How are these people reading all these audiobooks like every 5 days? And I was like, that's a lot of money. It's like,
it is.
I know.
It is. So if you're
okay, good to know.
Right. So if you're using that Plus catalog and it's like a library, you're just listening to whatever you want. If you don't like it, you just return it. You get another one. It's unlimited.
Okay.
So that can be worth it.
Good to know. Because I was like, I had like a note, I think for Friday to like restart the Audible, but like I was waiting for this to like talk to you first. Because I was like, 1 book for a month. Like I have to wait the next month to like read. I was like, no, but I want to like listen to more. That's why I'm like getting this alongside with my Kindle. Because I mean, I think there's like besides JD Geisinger that has that other like Teal Swan's some of her books have the listen to it too, and
read and listen for free.
I think is it Ilsa Madden Mills. That's how I was reading or listening to hers.
She has a lot. LJ Shin has some in there like that too. I think Colleen Hoover has a couple of books that are read and listen for free. I mean, I have several videos that I've posted of just different ones that you can go and check out and search in your Kindle app. There's an easy way to search in your app to find like all the read and listen for free.
It was your video that I was like, okay, pause.
Yeah, I have a tutorial on how to find it.
There was a tutorial, so I was like pausing because like my son's like, what are you doing with that video? You can play pause, but I was like, look, it's telling me how to do this stuff because I can't remember for the life of me how to do it once I did it. And I was like, leave me alone. Like, but yeah, that tutorial helped a lot to find, because then I just kind of created a list so I can come back when I'm like ready to like, add them to my library. Then I have a list of, I can listen to this specific ones if I wanted to listen to. So.
And every couple of months I go back and make a new one because they'll have new books that have been, new releases that have been brought on board. Oh, Devney Perry.
Oh, okay.
The Crossroads. And I haven't listened to her new ones, Sunlight, Crossroads was incredible. I was sobbing. I was feeling all of the things. Oh, it was a really, really fantastic book. But that was a read and listen for free.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess I just don't pay attention to these things.
It has little yellow headphones next to where it says Kindle Unlimited.
Okay.
If it's got a little yellow or gold headphone next to it, it's a part of that program.
Yeah. And I think I believe it's like once you download it, it will, if you have the Audible app, it will download it as well on the Audible app.
Yes. Yes. Because you can have an Audible app without having a subscription with Audible.
Yes. I'm actually going to look right now.
We're like, but yeah, thank you for like telling me about like the membership, because for the longest
Of
time I was like
course.
trying to like, I'm just gonna do like the trial. So like I keep like using different emails, and I was like, I'm tired of like creating emails but I was like getting mad because I was like, I can only listen to one. I'm jealous of
Right.
other people. It's like
There it
you
is.
found it.
What'd you find?
Crossroads, and it has Kindle Unlimited, and there's the little headphones, and read and listen for free right here. I probably just disregarded it. I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like Amazon and Audible, they are such huge companies that some of the details just get missed. I'm like, where is the pamphlet? Where is the information when somebody signs up for these things? Let's make it really clear of what all is included, because sometimes it's just not very clear. And then you're just trying to figure it out as you go. But if you don't know what you're actually paying for and all the benefits of it, then you end up canceling your membership.
Tiffany has saved the
That
day.
was me. Yeah, that was me. I canceled my Audible subscription because I didn't know.
So happy to help.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then also with Audible, if you think you might keep it for a while, you can, like what I did, and I don't know if this is just sometimes they offer this or they offer it for everybody. I went ahead and bought 1 year in advance.
Okay.
Because when you paid in advance for 12 months, they went ahead and gave me all 12 of my credits up front. But it was significantly cheaper. I ended up paying $7.50 a month for those 12 months instead of $15 a month if I was just paying month to month. And I said, sold. That is... Because that's what I pay normally just through Kindle Unlimited. Yeah. So then it's the same. And then I just have the Audible Plus catalog sitting there, and I can listen to that whenever I want.
That's great.
And then in the catalog, there's romance, kind of like what we... Okay, cool. So yeah, see, I thought it was just like... Because I did find some of them that were like, it's included in your membership. And I was like, but I don't read self-help books. Like, go away.
Yeah, just filter it by romance. They have erotica and they have romance.
Okay.
Sometimes and I don't really know how they categorize those, because I've seen audiobooks in the erotica category, and I'm thinking, that doesn't feel like that feels like romance to me, not erotica. But I don't know specifically if there's certain words or certain word count or certain things about the plot that make it lean more that way. Oh, there's a default setting now on Audible that automatically hides all erotic content. You have to disable that to see some of those books.
Oh, okay.
In your settings. You have to uncheck the box so that you can see those as well. Because like I said, a lot of them just feel like spicy romance, like a lot of romances. It has 3 or 4 scenes in it, and that's it. But they will label it as erotica. So I don't know.
Good to know.
That's weird.
I don't make those rules. They don't ask me my opinion.
No, they should.
Oh, side question. Since you kind of like did, have you narrated any book, or would you ever get into like being an
No.
No. Narration is not for me. I'm not an actor. I would not be good at it. 2, I really hate reading out loud. I always have. Yeah. I mean, narrators are amazing to me because they have to go and sit in a very tiny space. And they have to play all the characters. and like really, they have to be actors to be good at what they do. Honestly, you can't just read, but I mean, their voices are their instrument. And I was just at Indies Invade Philly this past weekend for an event, and I was talking a lot, like for 10 hours, and my voice was so fatigued. And I was talking to some of my narrator friends, and I said, I really feel for you when you have 7-hour work days. If you're like, oh, you're just reading for 7 hours. When you're reading out loud, you're talking out loud that long, it can really be straining on your voice. And we don't realize that. And that's just not, it's just not for me. I will just stick to promoting and helping encourage people to listen and to try it. But no, never wanted to write. Don't want to be an author. Don't want to be a narrator.
Oh.
I was just
I'll
curious.
just be in the background, but like on a camera, you know.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. So I know you said like you just went to a book event. Do you have plans for next year that you're going to be going to any book signings?
Yeah, I will probably go to a couple. The only ones that I know for sure that I'm going to right now or plan to go to is Wild and Windy Chicago, and then Lit in Charleston.
Oh, okay.
So I think that one's in March. I'm assisting an author at that one. And then Wild and Windy Chicago, I'm just right now I'm just going as a reader.
Oh, that's fun.
Which is it like, if you are assisting an author, do you get to do you really get downtime or not really?
Yeah.
No.
Not a lot. It's a very different experience going as an assistant for an author. I love doing that too because I like being helpful in those situations. I mean, I've been to enough book events over the last 2 years. You know, I want to go and see some of my author friends. I want to say hi to them in person. I want to hang out with them at night at the bar. You know, everybody's just talking and being together. But it's definitely a different energy when you are assisting because you're not able to just walk around and explore and go meet newer authors. But it's also a lot of fun because when you're working with an author that you really like and you like them as a person and you like their books, it's exciting to talk to readers when they approach the table who have never read the author before. And so you get to share a little bit about your love for their books with this potential new reader, and not from like a salesperson kind of standpoint, but these book events are amazing. You just get to, everybody there loves the same thing that you love. Everybody's passionate about the same thing. And they're just kind of magical in a way. Like you can just be standing in line with somebody and you're smiling and they're smiling. You're like, so who are you excited to see here? Like, who's a new author that you haven't met yet that you're excited to meet? Or are there any narrators that you are really looking forward to meeting? And it's so fun. It's like a big club.
Yeah, right?
It is. Yeah. I think I've only met 2 narrators from the book event that I went to, but it's like, they're super tall. I felt like
Which one did you go to?
Sinners and Stardust.
Oh, okay. Oh, I've heard good things about that one as well.
Yeah. It was a great experience. It was big though. It was like huge event that more than what I was expecting. So like next year that I'm going to, I want it more to be like a little bit smaller because then at least I can relax. I don't feel like I have to like meet all these authors, kind of like running around, like trying to run around and like meet all the authors that I want to meet. Because it was just huge event. It was like 2 floors, and I was like, I can't do this. Like back, upstairs, downstairs, and I was just like, by the end, I was like, I'm exhausted. Like I don't want to do anything.
Yes, I mean they're all exhausting, even if they're smaller events. Yeah. It's just a different vibe. I mean, I've been to really small, intimate events. They only sold 200 tickets, and there was maybe 40 authors there, so you got to see everybody. It was wonderful. And then I've been to like Book Bonanza.
Oh, wow.
In Texas, where you have 175 authors, and there's 1,500 tickets in one giant conference center room. So they all have different vibes. They all kind of have a different theme. Sometimes it might be focused more on dark romance or sports romance or trad authors or indie authors. They're all a lot of fun.
Have you been like overseas for like a book event kind of thing?
No, I would love to though. I really would have loved to gone to Rare London, but those tickets sold out like that.
Yeah.
I mean, there was just no chance I was going to get a ticket to that one. But yeah, I mean, those are very large events too, but there's so many new authors, you know, European authors that go, especially to the ones that happen in Europe that, you know, they don't make it to the States very much. So it'd just be an opportunity to meet a lot of newer authors and, yeah, just explore another country while you're there. I think it sounds amazing.
Yeah, I heard, was it Babe, the one in Australia?
Yes.
Like where they do it every other year. I was like, maybe I want to like, I was telling Kolleen, it's like, we should like save up for not next year, but the next one. And then we can go.
Yeah, and turn it into a big vacation or something. Because it's so, I mean, Australia is so far away. You got to stay there for a while. I don't know if I would make the plane ride, honestly. I think I'd be clawing at the walls like, I got to get out of here.
I'd have to be heavily medicated. I couldn't do it.
Yeah. Europe's fine. Like I could make it there. I'd be fine, but go in the other direction across the, I've been to Japan before and I thought I was going to lose my mind when it said I still had 8 hours. That was really rough.
I was born and raised in the Philippines. So before I migrated here, like my very first big plane ride was from there to Florida. And I was just like, by the end, like, I think we traveled a day and a half.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
it's a long time in a tiny plane. Even if the plane's big, it feels tiny.
It was tiny. And I think my mom got us like the middle seat. And I was just like, and you know, like I was falling asleep because I was like, this is not what I expected plane rides were. Because I was like, I didn't know. I was like, oh, it's going to be fun, you know, going out of the country or leaving the country. And I was like, never again. I mean, I haven't been back. So that tells you. And we always drive everywhere. We barely fly. And we always drive. So I was like, I mean, now, because I'm tired of like driving everywhere, it's like, no, I'd rather do like the 4-hour flight. Or
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
4 hours or less. Sounds good.
Yeah. But some cool.
Well, that brings us to the end of the episode. We had so much fun and appreciate you coming and speaking with us and educating us, really, for free.
Happy to do it.
Yeah.
So thanks again. And be sure to follow us on our socials and be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss out on any of our new episodes. If you have any authors you would like to see on our podcast, you can DM us on Instagram. Well, that's all. See you next time.
Thank you.